then after when I cut down my A companion, are there any actions items? Transcribe conversation.
Here's the contact info for Boga RAO Papu Sanskrit.
Oh, I'm not able to deal with the request like that to. Okay. All right, sounds good. Johnsy, let's start. See if we can. Your first question: can you tell us about your journey from Chennai, India, to the U.S.?
Yes, sir.
Johnsy, you want to record by yourself?
I am recording the voice recording.
You're recording the voice. Okay.
Voice. Yes, sir.
Okay. What were your biggest, in a way, motivations for moving and pursuing music here? What challenges did you face in those early days? Cultural adjustments, language, music theory. At that point, did you decide to establish your own music school for teaching practice, and what prompted that decision? Oh, this is very interesting. I think the connection comes from my master's degree in Chennai.
So you did masters in what, sir?
Carnatic music, Indian classical music, bachelor's degree and master's degree in Carnatic music from the University of Madras.
Okay. So
I was the first batch for men candidates to do bachelor's degree in Madras University. இல்லைன்னா எல்லாரும் சிதம்பரம் தான் போனோம் பாய்ஸ் படிக்கணும்னா சிதம்பரத்துக்கு தான் போய் படிக்கணும். This was
So first நீங்க கர்நாடிக் மியூசிக் அதுல வந்து வோக்கல் தான் எடுத்தீங்களா சார்?
No, I was a Veena player by then already. So I took, and I also played Western keyboard very much. So at that time there was no Carnatic music on the keyboard. It was only the Western, Trinity College of Music training that I was getting from Jacob John, who was one of the best pianists. Mostly all of the big stars are.
So where was that location, sir? Trinity College?
That was in London. But you have to finish off certain grades before you can take the final exams there. So I finished off, lot of the grade exams from here, from Chennai. I was a Chennai boy, right? So as part of my master's degree, I was recommended by my head of the department.
Music school itself, you went to this opportunity. You got this opportunity, and you have joined there.
1 minute. Praveen is coming in. Just 1 second. Praveen, I'm a little delayed. I sent a message. Probably you didn't see it.
Oh, okay.
I'm just starting the previous class before your class. So probably another 30 minutes. I'll come back to you.
I have to go to Pranav's school.
Okay.
So can we do it tomorrow?
Yes, we can do tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to be in LA for the Diwali dance for the Vashni
Right.
workshop. Yeah. If you're coming there, I will give you a class there.
I'll try.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
So it was the project was there was a scholar from San Diego State University. It's late Robert E. Brown. I kind of give my big homage to him, being, he was the first person to coin the word world music. So, and he was doing a Smithsonian project in preserving the Indian palm leaf manuscripts. And he was specifically interested in what the palm leaf manuscript was talking about in rhythm, melody, and what kind of text. Um, so he needed someone as his project manager to work on his project, and then to be able to travel to different libraries. And at that time, I was writing my thesis on musical notation, development of musical notation system in Carnatic music. A musical notation, a need or no need, that kind of hypothetical question. Do we need for an oral tradition a notation where we don't even notate some of the things that we actually play? So why do we need a notation for that kind of? So that kind of, that was going on. So this project came in, and Dr. Sita was our professor, was my big guide. And I did not study Veena with her. I studied with R.S. Jayalakshmi ma'am all the times. From, whatever I know on the Veena, I learned only from her. So, and but Dr. Sita was my professor at Madras University. In those days, when you work under a professor, it means that it's not just like you come to college and you study and go away. It's like apprenticeship training, that you become their student, become their disciple, and then you have one person teaching you all the Veenas and all those things, and then this person guides me into more of how the musicology, and how the path, So she,
Theoretical way, you mean, like theoretical?
it's not only theoretical, it's the roundup of music education. So she was like, I studied under her for almost like 6 years. Dr. Sita was 6 years, from my undergraduate, 3 years plus 2 years of MA, and 1 year of MPhil. But what this project was to travel to different libraries, and then where are these manuscripts now? We always think that South Indian manuscripts are found in one place. Everybody knows Saraswati Mahal Library in Tanjore, but unfortunately, most of the materials are not in South India. It's in North India, in Jaipur.
Oh, how
Jaipur
come?
Palace has a private library, now is owned by government, has all the palm leaf. I couldn't trace it how it went into there,
Uh-huh.
but those are, if you're Indian and you want to look into the palm leaf, you have to have a government of India release all those things. But when foreigners come in and ask for permission, they get permission, and most of the time we get to know that existence of these materials through these kind of publications. For now, the things might have changed, but I'm talking about
The early
1982, 1982 or 1984, around that time period, when I was doing my master's in Madras University. So we kind of combined. I also wanted to bring in this notation system, the development of musical notation system in Carnatic music, and that project was coming up. And then we saw some of the manuscripts where there were notation written down. Very, very eye-opening. And then all of them are now in a microfilm in Smithsonian Institution, and some of it I was able to read because of the Sanskrit, Telugu, Kannada, Tamil languages that I can read and write. So this project was looking for someone in that caliber. So, but they didn't advertise it. But it came through. Dr. Sita came and asked me if I'm interested in working with that. But however, you're not going to go to America. You're going to stay here and finish your PhD, and then come to Madras University and all those things. Caveats that she was making. I had no intention. I'm come from a very orthodox, traditional Brahmin family, and for me, my parents' music was more. It's not for livelihood, but it was more like this is our tradition, our parampariyam, sampradayam, our culture, and then so we give this. And after I started taking Veena, all my cousins, sisters, brothers, everybody started learning Veena, and so that was a big change in our family too. That and all of that I learned in singing as well. we had the singing classes. We were taught in singing, and also some of the big stalwarts musicians, Sugana Varadachari, Parur Venkataramayar, R.S. Jayalakshmi ma'am was my primary Veena teacher, and all the way through till today. So all these teachers were all the faculty at Madras University. Very strong, and Dr. Premila Gurumurthy was just finishing up PhD and joining up, and so she was kind of a colleague, senior colleague, and became our professor as well. So that kind of so we were able to link very easily. So that was the first introduction to an American musicologist, musician. He's Robert E. Brown, is called Bob Brown, who was the first person to start Indian music 1963-64 and in the Wesleyan University program. The first, he brought Brinda Muktama, or the brothers, Vishwanathan, T. Vishwanathan. So he was a flutist who was brought to the Wesleyan University, very first time, and then Palkat Raghu on the mridangam, and then KV and Mama was on the singing. So they all were in the Wesleyan University, and then eventually it's all started at the Wesleyan University first. Still, that's why in the East Coast the Indian music program is very strong. And then in California, it was all influenced by Ravi Shankar ji. So all all the Hindustani music started developing much better. And, then the program came into Cal Arts.
Yeah.
That program.
It's very close by to my home too. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah. Yeah, and even now we have Wenton Newman is a musician from Bali was doing the Indonesian gamelan, and Indian music program did not survive that much, and now so with that introduction, it was a 3 years project, and then I was required to provide a presentation at the Smithsonian at Washington, so they invited me to come over there. I was still a graduate, not graduated yet from Madras University. I was there. So I came there, I presented all the material that we found, and then Dr. N. Ramanathan, one other big name in my life, music life, is, don't mistake with S. Ramanathan, who's a singer,
Oh yeah.
but he is N. Ramanathan, is a musicologist, an expert on Sangeeta Ratnakara, very scholarly high person. He also traveled with me. He was a faculty sponsor for me, and then everything was under him, and then I was helping him, and then the project was owned by Robert E. Brown at the San Diego State University. He's already in San Diego State. So that went very well, and then was very impressed. I finished my master's degree, got my degree, everything, thesis done, everything completed. What then? What's next? Let's register for MPhil. No intention of coming to US.
Yeah.
So all these things happened. Then there was an offer that came from San Diego State. By then, San Diego State, the music scenario, San Diego, in California, the music scenario was KVN Mama was at San Diego State. Palkat Raghu sir was in San Diego State, and then Narendran Mridangam was on that scene. So lot of things were kind of ending, and then they were all retiring and coming out. So people had experience of studying with the India's most popular KV Narayanasamy, Palkat Raghu sir, Narendran sir, nammaloda seniors ella they had exposure to that. And then when they moved out, that became a small vacuum. So the San Diego State wanted to bring somebody who would continue that program. And this time they decided to bring somebody who's fresh, under 25. 26, I was 26, and 24. I was 24 when I came to San Diego. By then a lot of things have happened also between that 22 and 24. I already got married to Rose. That was a big revolution. And then that was going, almost, so a lot of things, and then when this offer came in, it also gave me a little bit of escape to find ourselves and then come out. I said, okay, I'll take that offer. I'll come to San Diego State. First, I came to teach. It was a 2 years commitment to teach, and then so I came here, and then Indian Community Center for Old Music. They all came to my 60th birthday last year. From San Diego, they all came there. Our
Yeah,
culture.
I saw the crowd. Yeah, all
Yeah.
of them
So
standing.
so all those people, who were in San Diego, had this big, who is this Murli? I didn't have all this nickname NMK and all those things at the time. It was Murli Krishnan. That's it, and they called me Murli. I know only one thing. It's I know to play Veena. There's a picture in my room how I looked. I know that Veena has no pickup or nothing. I'll wear vesti only. My teacher has told me don't play Veena before taking shower and doing your puja. So I always, even today, today morning I played Veena. I did take my shower and then sit down here and do. So that's kind of imbibed in my blood. I can't change it. I'm still in there. So that led into, the biggest motivation was this. I will get to continue to work on the project, Smithsonian project, and then I will also get to opportunities will arise when I can do my some studies in America with the Center for with the ethnomusicology on the background, and can also teach Indian music in America. And then Veena has not been exposed to America. There was one other Veena player at the time, was Geeta Bennett, who was a big Veena player, and she married to an American, Frank Bennett, who was a mridangist. So they were in the East Coast, settled and all those things, and then they had recently moved into Los Angeles area, and so she passed. Both of them passed away. I have great respects for them. So that was a scene, but San Diego was vacant. There was nothing happening. So when I started off, people's expectation were like, we learned this song from KV and Mama. I said, hold on. KV and Mama is KV and Mama. I am Murli. I've not even started my life. So I played few concerts in India. I'm fresh, hot. I don't know what this culture is and all those things. So let's see what Murli can offer you guys. And, but one thing in my case was I cracked, being a non-musician family, cracked into music. I broke that line and got into the music. My father was he was not a musician, but he knew music, but he was not enough to teach me and train me. So that's why I had to go and learn from somebody else. But he pretty much had a lot of experience on that. So with that mindset, I think I was so new to America. Did not know any exposure to the American culture except for the 3-day visit to Washington. I came back and left because I had my exams to finish. And then, so coming here, San Diego State had this program called Cultural Shock America. This is designed for foreign students. The first few weeks, they don't take you to college. They take you out to SeaWorld. They take you out different. They have classes. They have, the test of English as a foreign language, TOEFL, that you take in India has no relevance to the way how they speak here. It's really a epic failure that nobody talks like that. And then I have in music, I have all this background from British. A quarter note is called, nobody would in UK would call quarter note. It's called crotchet. And then a half note is called minim. And then, so likewise, there are so many terminologies was so different. What is crotchet? Nobody know. What is a minim? Nobody know here. So you felt like, gosh, I have 8 degrees of exams that I've passed, but it looks like I'm so rudiment. But I was not, it was just the connecting the words, right? And then food, I'm a pure vegetarian. And coming here, the first thing I thought was pepperoni was a pepperoni pizza. I didn't know it was pepperoni was pepper, was a beef. So I tried it. I didn't like it. And That was the beginning of my exposure to American food, and lot of different things that you need to, you know. I stayed in my professor's home for about 4 months as a paying guest, because to get used to that, you can't get an apartment. You don't have a credit. Nobody talks about, you have to get established a credit. You have to have established all. Nobody tells you all those things, and then and then mobility. So he has a RX-7, Mazda RX-7, a two-seater that he always would drive me to college and drop me off at 6:40 in the morning, because my class was at 7. For the history of music, Western classical music. That was the first cultural shock came in. The professor was a Russian. His name was Morachek. I will never forget him in my life. He was a scholar, extreme scholar. You pick up 1835, what happened, Morachek? Professor Morachek, he will tell you. That kind of scholar. But his language was so different. It was a purely, he had a mixture of, why are people, Americans, talking different English was my first question, because they are all from a different culture. People from UK speak American language different than an American born and brought up here. And within the Americas, we have the Southwest language is different. And then you have, Afro-American speaking, completely don't understand at all. I didn't understand at all. And so there was my Robert E. Brown was the head of the department, professor, ethnomusic, a little higher position, kind of, so, but I also had one guide here, Louis Peterman. They're all, Bob passed away, and Louis Peterman is in 89 now. Sometimes I write him a message. The reunion last time when Rose and I, we played concert in San Diego. We were able to go meet him in El Cajon. So all these things, right? The cultural shock was really, the musical theory. I was very good in ear, so my ear training was all passed. I was on absolute pitch, so 100%. All those, preliminary things that everybody, all the, when I was teaching, the stipend was very less. I said, okay, when I joined as a student, I could, So then there was an opening. I joined a master's degree program. I think that was not a plan at all, but that came up right away. So they used as a TA to teach the class, general ed class, and then I had my Indian music class. Then we also extended as a open university course for Indian community. All those things were very successfully planned. I got into my first year of master's degree in ethnomusicology, and the first program was the history of music and music theory. I still don't know how do you say HOAG? Is it hog or hog? I don't know. When you call hog, it's a different meaning. It's a slang for something else, for an animal, and hog is so the professor's name was HOAG. So we always call him Professor H. And then he complained, your H is not H. It's not pronounced, even if you're not calling my one letter correctly. So we can differentiate between, those letters, and then V and W. All those things are all like a hard part. At what point does it decide, And then the own music and all those things did not come up for a long. I was teaching like few students who wanted to learn, and they were learning some harmonium. So I thought, okay, harmonium. I played piano, and I have not developed the full step of Carnatic music at the time.
Okay.
So when I was doing my master's degree, one of the coursework was for electronic music. So that time I got into exposure to all type of modern technologies, keyboards, variety of keyboards, DX7, RX7, Euphonium keyboards, you name it, all kind of exposure to that. And then, instruments that has like a pipe, a straight pipe that you can move your hand, it can create sound. All those things. Oh my God, we can play gamakam on that if you do that. that opened up. A ribbon will be there on the instrument. We move the hand on the ribbon, it'll provide. Then eventually pitch bend, concept of pitch bend. Why can't we use the pitch bend for Carnatic music? How do you do that? Portamento, what is portamento? All those things got into my mind, and I said, okay, I'm going to develop a Carnatic music model. So the first model was taught at San Diego State. Was the Carnatic music was introduced at the Carnatic San Diego State, but my focus was on Balinese gamelan. That was my topic of dissertation. In I found a lot of things like alapana similar to that. I found a lot of things in Javanese and Balinese gamelan. So an instrument called trompong, which has like a layer of gongs, a whole bunch of gongs, and then you play with two sticks. So very actively got involved into that. I thought I fitted, so I went to Bali. I taught there for some time, study abroad program. 1.5 years I stayed in Bali, learned the Bahasa Indonesia. I still are connected with all the Indonesian friends I have. So with all that said, right, lot things are going on, and then a lot of cultural adjustments. We're telling students not to take shoes, and taking out shoes is a taboo in college. You can't, they're not allowed to remove the shoes, but we are telling, so we ordered like a pack of socks, for everybody to come in the Vina class. So we give them a new pair of socks, and then they go ahead, but a lot of adjustments, and I could not accept them playing with the shoes on, and then said no. What do we do? Compromise. Okay, we'll just buy a whole bunch of socks and then give them each time when they come in. Here's a gift for you guys. So we have the musical socks, the keyboard socks. So all those things goes into the cultural adjustments, language, and then you get a culture to the and then the music, ethnomusicology. That was a key connection to me. What is ethnomusicology? Field of ethnomusicology, study of people's music. It's more of an ethnology. Like what does music mean to them? Why does Murli has to think about playing the veena, and then what is this veena significant to them? What is an icon of this veena? So and that's kind of that those are all the study of ethnomusicology. What does this why does Sarong, when you play gamelan, why are you playing that, wearing that kind of costume and playing? Each one transform into a certain figure when they start playing the music. And then there are so many forms in shadow play, vayankulit, those kind of different dances. So everybody transform into நம்ம கூட கலாக்ஷேத்ரால போனீங்கன்னா அந்த யக்ஷகானம்லாம் இருக்கு. யக்ஷகானம், அந்த கதகளி டான்ஸ், அதெல்லாம் வந்து அப்படியே அந்த once they put the makeup, they transfer themselves into that form, and then they become Rama and Ravana and all those things. They transform themselves and they started acting like that, right?
Yeah.
So those kind of things, the cultural context of music, not from your own subjectivity, where Indian music was described as a snake charming music. If you read some of the old music, there were snake charmers considered. People recorded that, Bakke recorded that and put it as a snake charming music. It's not a snake charmer had, it was easier when you do that to da 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 da. All those things, the snake were going in a charming phase, so it was able to catch, but it was not music. It was not part of our music. Then they started going into that, and then they call it religious music. All those things, the cultural context all slowly start changing and changing and changing. And then that's where the tradition, innovation, style, right? How do you balance this? So when by then it's almost like 2 years have passed, and then Rose joined in with me, and then her first presentation in San Diego was a big hit. She's 22, 23, 24, and I'm 25. We start our life with 2 years old kid Varshini. That's how life started in San Diego, and Varshini was there for everywhere. She was there when we perform concerts. She will be there in the concert. There's no babysitter. She'll be sitting in the stage, and then she get a special reward for singing one song. She will sing Endro Mohan Balu, get a whole attraction of the whole concert. And Child Prodigy sang Endro Mohan Balu. So that kind of stuff. So she started always in a glory, always in the limelight. She was grown up. So good and bad of it, but that's how. And then the model that I developed, even now you can see, is the changing. The first original model was changing trends without changing traditional values. That was the first model. That was how I brought the keyboard. Changing trends. We changed the trends to what? To continue the tradition. So if you take the two corners of a cultural line, what you call the dichotomy of the cultural thread line, right? The dichotomy, the opposite, two opposites are, one changes continuously, one continues. Why you have a change? You change because you continue the traditional values, right? If for a change, for the cause of change alone will put you into a distraction mode. Oh, because I had to change, I changed. So that will fail. If you don't have an objective, why the microphone came in? Microphone came in because of that change in because the continuum on that change caused some of the recordings from the exteriors to be heard by the younger generations. Microphone helped. People resisted microphone, but it didn't kill the music. It only enhanced the music. So Carnatic music on the keyboard, if you close your eyes and listen to it, it is Carnatic music on the keyboard, right? We play the exact music. How do you bring that? All those things, details. So that was the first model I introduced, the keyboard, changing trends without changing cultural value, right? So in that, there's one thing was bothering me all the time. There's already a negative word in there, without. Negative, why without? What is that? What is it actually doing? So what? Without changing cultural, traditional values, but there's something else, right? So changing trends to sustain and continue sampradaya. That is what our newer model now, with all the new, changing trends to continue and sustain traditional values. That gave me that one night I woke up, and then that's what this is all doing. It is helping me to continue the traditional values, and not, why without changing traditional values? Why am I saying that? It's not without. It is actually sustaining it. It's actually helping us. This change in the trend is helping us. If everybody was not doing anything, how many kids would have gone without learning Carnatic music if I had not introduced keyboard? And how many students would have gone even coming to the Veena? I start off keyboard as a kind of a passport for people to come into Veena.
True for myself
Yes.
also it happens.
Yes, so many kids have learned. When I just one time, when they gone to a certain stage in keyboard, and then when they come to listen to the Veena, immediately they feel like, hey, what is this, right?
Yeah.
So I think and then there was another meaningful thing that came up. Everybody will go to the phase in their life, right? Your kids have now become teenagers. By then, then your life changes differently, and then so the question, even not even teenager, even before that, 4th grade, 5th grade, Dad, do you don't go to work? You don't go to work. You don't do anything other than, you don't know anything music. This question came in the child thoughts, and then whatever we do, that music was not considered to be a work for the child, because the norms in the parents, when they go to, what is it? My father is an engineer, my father is a accountant, my father works for this company. Where do you work? We have our own company. We have a company called Isai Sangam at the time, ISAI-SANGAM. That was the first one that came up, Isai Sangam. Isai means music, nothing related connotation to the religious part, but it's Isai, Isai Nadagam, other Isai music. Another Abdi Isai Sangam, a collaboration of, and then that turned into a Spring Nectar Academy, and then eventually that later on formed into Spring Nectar Foundation for music, dance, and all those arts forms. That is also an evolution. And then by then I already graduated San Diego State, and then what yeah, no, okay, I'm going to pack. I want to go back home. I want to go back and, I was already connected with our professor. They wanted me to come there, complete my PhD work and then everything. And yeah, another connection here is, um, why don't we do a PhD in, so Nazir Jarasboy, who was a sitar player, I met him in one of the conferences and listened to my Veena, and he invited me, why don't we do something in UCLA? And then, so we can also earn you a PhD. So I kind of got that really attractive. I went to UCLA. I got blown out by all those things that's happening at UCLA. And then I already have a master's degree in ethnomusicology at the time, master's degree in Indian music, and then come out with 8 degrees in Trinity College of Music, a real rounded musician. I should be performing, not doing theory. But UCLA, one thing was they were paying me not to play music. That was because it was all theoretical. If you do 5 concerts, 50 concerts a year, and then do one paper, the one paper will weigh more than the 50 performances because you'll come here for an academic study in a PhD program. So it was really interesting. So I didn't want it to go. I wanted to go back home. I wanted to bring my Veena tradition and all those things. I didn't want to write this keyboard as a thesis. This was the recommended topic. I said, no, I don't want to do that. I have to have something as my fun. I don't want to bring that as an institutional stuff. I would have done that, but what I did was I will take an exam and then finish my PhD coursework, and then I don't want to go into the thesis mode. It'll be incomplete if I just do that. So I took an exam. I took my language requirements, coursework completed. I took a final round exam, which means it's an 8 hours exam that you have to take in multiple open books exam, and then they give the certification based on that. And then your doctoral thesis is not there pending. Anytime you can go back, but your PhD work is completed. So that's how I finished my PhD work. And then UCLA was a very tough experience. It was a very tough experience for me. Life stage, LA, moving to LA, lots and lots of opportunities came in for my performance, but this one was stopping me. Almost towards the end of that, Cal Poly Pomona offered me a job.
Oh, okay.
I took the Cal Poly Pomona job to start the Indian music program there. We brought a beautiful festival. They wanted to do something like Cleveland was doing. So we started that, but the intention was nice. But the person who was working, Don Amerson, didn't connect with all these things. He retired now. He's not there. He actually literally killed it. He basically used that funds that we generated from the festival into music program, and we got upset on that. We said no. So I walked out of the program. I said no. Everybody said, this is nothing to do with you. Why are you resigning on this? It's a full-time tenure job. Why do you leave that? No, at that time, my blood was very young. I was still under 30, so, I had this music background. I have everything that I need. No fear on me. What's coming, I'll go back home. Nothing mattered. Then the twist on the 29th year was 29 years I'm already in Cal Poly. I didn't fit that much because everybody was at the 50s. They're talking about the retirement funds, 401k. I don't even know what 401k was at the time. I had to think about my diapers for my kids at the time. Vashni was a baby, Basant was just born. So all these things are happening, and then there was a small project. Somebody called me to do a small logo comes up. That logo comes in different parts of the world. And then you write your ethnomusicology so you can have music written down for each country. So it was for an in-flight entertainment company. The logo was coming up. And then, when they Singapore Airlines launched the logo will come for Singapore Airlines. Then there'll be a Singapore background music. When it comes to Indonesia, there'll be Indonesian music. Then you have a jazz, that kind of stuff. So the company, I didn't even know what company was that, Matsushita Electric Corporation of America, some big name. Went there and I did that project. It was a small project, about a couple of grants. So I did that. That president was Brinder Bhatia in the company. He was a lover of Veena. So out of all the things, what he liked was the Veena entrance into. So he said, why don't we use the Veena for everything all across? It sounds so beautiful, and then we'll do that. And then so we made that into the product line. It's still System 2000E at Panasonic has that kind of a small interlude of that Veena thing. But since I've changed so many things, so the logos, all those things now, branding has changed. It became Panasonic. So when I went there, that was the first project, and then the contracts departments were looking for someone that they needed someone to take care of non-disclosure agreements and all those things. So I said, I know, Brenda said, what are you doing there daytime? Daytime, I sleep well. I do barbecue in the morning, Monday mornings, and weekends I'm busy. Friday, Saturday, Sunday I'm busy. But you want to try a job? You want to come and work here? So I said okay. Rose was already she was come from a big music background from India. She was the MLV disciple, was teaching a head of the music department at Santam Communication Center, had a very good profile. So she came here, applied, and she got the by expert qualification, she got her self-sponsored green card. She got into it, and then with her getting a green card, we all got green card. I tried several times, it got denied. I said, "No, I'm going back home. Maybe I'll never change from F1 to anything else." So it was that stage, but she applied, she immediately got it, and then boom, 6 months we got all our green card all done. So I was already getting into Panasonic, and that was a big breakthrough. So teaching and market adoption, right? A lot of the things that now Murali Krishnan has become Lee Murali Krishnan at Panasonic. I got this nickname by my friends Lee. Now it has become a lee.muralikrishnan at panasonic.aero. That's my email address at Panasonic. 33 years have passed since I joined there. So the journey started differentiating, Then I went to Lala Marymount to take some legal courses, but never had an intention of becoming a lawyer or anything. Took some basic courses. Then that led into UCI contracts management. I got into contracts management. I got that UCI program all done completely, certificate program, contracts management. I got that complete done. Then the contracts man, I was hired as a senior contracts. It's called administrator. You can imagine you have a PhD program, you have an experience of teaching at the university, you have all these things, but here administrator is the lowest kind of position in a company that you have to take that. I said, look, you guys are getting serviced by one of the highly educated person, but if you keep me more than 1 year, you won't find me here. I'll find some other place to go. But here's what the opportunity they got was, since they had me at that caliber, they have lots of spectrum to move me up in so many different ways. So every quarter I was absolutely small race, and I was able to go. I was able to go up, and then eventually, right, that turned out into a place for me to study about customer experience. So the chief engineer, vice president of engineer, was the engineering, was very closely working with me in the contracts department, where we were doing all the NDAs and all those things for him. And I was promoted as a contracts manager, and then so I was taking care of the general contracts, terms and agreement for the airline contracts, but specifically with the movie industries. So I was kind of feeling like, I'm a musician, what's up? So here you go, Disney movies, here you go, Universal Studios, all those guys. So, and then you negotiate agreement with them and bring the content, and those are the movies that comes up in our plane when you fly and see all the movies. So I got that, and then the VPE, Executive Vice President of Engineering, became the president of Panasonic. Paul Morges, he became the president of Panasonic. I became his chief of staff. So and then he became a CEO of Panasonic. I became the senior chief of staff for the company, not only for Panasonic Avionics but also all of the Panasonic in North America, 27 companies.
Wow.
So I became this chief lead on the Japan. So that was about 20 years experience, and still I'm continuing with my one Arangetram a year I was doing for my students. So my Arangetram every year in my progress 20 years, there's one student that come up along with me, and that's all I have time. And then I've been doing that. So that helped me to kind of keep the motivation on the, and then more and more I study about, customer experience. If you start understanding the needs of the customer very uniquely, then you can create a program that will suit their needs and then their taste, and then there is no equal to that solution. It doesn't become a class, it becomes a solution. So then all these children who are all studying with me are all the teenagers, and then the parents are seeing, if you send to NMK sir, is not only just the music, but it's also the culture, value. They all, at one point of time, the kids were all saying, I want to become like NMK sir. That kind of,
Even me, yes, you inspired me. I saw all your books and I also got inspired. Okay, I also should learn more like Sir, because Sir in this age also he is learning, and
yeah,
that, that encourages me to do the MBA too, sir. Yeah.
yeah. So that was really, motivating. I'm really, and all those things, right? Then the chief customer experience officer, I did all the survey for my customers, airline customers. These airline customers are become very closely with me. Then they started India. I went back to India. That was a fabulous opportunity. I went to India for 2 years. I stayed in India, but I'll come here every 3 weeks. I'll come back here. I go to India. It's what do you call that? That's called expat package. So stayed in a high class. Everything was very nice. So representing the CEO's office in India.
Oh,
So it was Jet Airways and all the Indian airlines. Everything was. Tata was not there yet. Tata was not in the business yet. Recently, um, you know. So lot of experience, and after that, 23 years or so, the management kind of came to a wrap, and then the new, Paul Ma just retired. We were given the options. I was young. I didn't have the age to retire at the time, but I had this amazing experience. So Lee, what do you want? What do you want to do? So we did, I said a lot of times I see how the customer is serviced, but sometimes we also forget about internal employees who are also, sometimes they are customers as well. You got to treat them as customers because, like a service, right? You go, they're traveling. If the agencies are not taking care of them properly, and then they're renting a car, they need car facilities, they have a fleet that they need to manage. We have helicopters, that we have special vans, service, that goes up to the airplane, lift up, cranes, all those things not managed clearly, and then there's so much of cost involved. So give me a cost control, and I will create a department called corporate services. All of the services, internal services, will be under the corporate services. So I'm the senior director of corporate services under procurement, and reports directly to the vice president of procurement. And with all this experience that we have all the spend. We manage almost like $18 million spend in the company, which is all internal spend only. So how do you create values for the spend, for the travel? What do we need for our customers? You don't come and create a solution once a customer coming. You create a solution when things are happening in the industry, and then you bring those top-notch things to our employees. So, employee benefit program, HR, partner with HR, find out what they want. How can you cater the needs? Today, after taking up our corporate services, we are providing as a benefit card as Mercedes-Benz and BMW for the same price they were giving Honda and Toyota. How are we able to manage? We change the program a little bit. We do it as a leasing model, slightly different. We called it as an open-ended lease, and then at the end of the 36 months, we kind of returned the lease and put it on auction. So the money was coming back to the company all these innovations, right? These are all some of the market adaptation. How do you understand the market adaptation? So how many of the musicians were able to, you know, put something called a strategy map, right? In music, if your conductor has to be very good, he needs to know the score. He needs to know what saxophone will play, what violins will play, what kind of score that you need to write. If you give the violin score to the saxophone player, they won't be able to play. They pay 2.5 keys less. When they see C, they are seeing B flat. Saxophone player will play as a B flat. So you have to put the constant C in there, transpose that position. So knowing your score is like knowing your, a strategy map of the company, how you want to be from a customer perspective, how your company want to be. Then financially, what accomplishment you have to do in order to serve the customer and make profit out of the customer. Productivity and profit need to be balanced. So what kind of innovations need to be done? Then you have this working capital, human capital in there, and at the very bottom we have all these processes and how we need to do, and the human capital, what kind of resources are required. All these things are aligned with the company top objective goals, serving the customers, right? What do we want to do? This changing trends to sustain and symbolize. So I wrote. There was a time when the competition was not within the Los Angeles. The competition was in the global people from India who have no overheads were competing with teachers in America. Whereas I have, if I sit here for 10 hours, I had to pay 10 hours of fee, for the rentals and all those things. I was taking a place in Artesia, and then teachers were teaching online and people were learning music. What is that you differentiate? How do you make the differentiation? What is the value generation that you can do for those, whereas you can get for $7 instead of paying $25, how can you get value for that? Right? So remove the value. I'm not teaching you a music class per class. I'm teaching you something. I'm giving you something as a solution for you to maintain and sustain your traditional values here. How will you give a fees for that? You won't give. It won't be a hourly fee for that. It's not possible to do. So all these models that we start bringing up, leverage the technology. Everybody in the house has computer. Why are we traveling to all this Lancaster or Malibu? All those things. Set up location centers. Today I can play from your Mac. In your Mac I can play my computer from here, from my home. That's how much I have progressed on that, which will be like another 6-7 years it'll come, but we are ready for that, what's going to come up next. So that's where the, your business and operations aspect, all my thoughts, I won't say all came from music only. I was fresh. I didn't know how to market the music until I joined Panasonic.
Yeah.
Right? And then it's not marketing as much. You understand the customer. If you know the customer only from the top level, it's only the small iceberg that's floating up. But when the iceberg floats up, when you send the laser beam down and reflect back, then it shows you how deep it is inside. That is where the actual core understanding of the customer is. The beyond the philosophy of understanding just not only the surface, but going underneath and understanding the customer uniquely, what is important to them. I thought everybody who come to learn with me will become a musician. I was very disappointed. People who are not practicing 3 hours. People who are not practicing 4 hours. Why are they not practicing? Why are they not becoming? And then when they become 11th grade, they say, thank you, Murli uncle, it was a wonderful exam. I have to go study, take my exam. So this was not even a consideration for you. It was not a music. Why did I give my life to you? And thought all those things gave a different meaning once you start understanding your context of that bigger picture of what do you know about your customers? What do you know about people who are taking service from you? If you understand that and then cater that needs into a different vocabulary and different structure to it and different processes. So I wrote a strategy map for musicians, that brought us a completely different approach in our music. When COVID came in, all this model came to us as a kind of a big hit. We did not lose not even one student from COVID.
Oh yeah.
No, in my case, not even one student. Generally, retention rate for me is about 99%. I don't have, unless they graduate and go, I don't have, it's not anyone that says, okay, I'm very unhappy with your teaching, Murli. I didn't like the way how you handle this, and go away. So that's to me, it's a failure. I won't allow that. What is that you learn from that? How can you fix it? What is it we cannot fix? Where is the broken process there? So became a process driven person. And then, and this technology and innovation, what in the music, the questions that you have, on the today, when I teach you 30 minutes of class, at the end of the class, I deliver you the materials that you need in a really a workable format, sometimes a real actual capture, and it's also streamed, and there's no delay on getting that. We have a media store. Previously used to buy, you have to buy cloud. You're not buying cloud now. It's in the link. It's just in seconds you get it, and it's available to you to record. So all of the software that I'm using, I'm not recording on Zoom. I'm not recording on any of those tools. I have my own tool. I have my own tool that what was the best tool that you can think of, in bringing this, so streaming platform. That streaming platform came handy when we did all these TV shows, right? And then Rose took it to a different level when she got into a TV, and then she brought our own broadcast system. And we have here in our room a complete Panasonic broadcast system here in our room. So the Panasonic helped us to understand, a life, it's okay to earn profit, but there is a way that you owe something to your customers, right? That is the gratitude, the honesty, and the truth. If you're lucky enough and you made profit out of it, you're good, right? But if you don't contribute to the society and then just only look for profit will never come to you.
Right.
From a customer perspective, take care of the customers, profit will flow. From internal perspective, take care of your employees. Employees will become more happy and start throwing value, and that will ultimately make customers successful. So eventually that helped you to, take care of your customers, take care of your employees, do the process, establish your process well, and your success will come. And constantly don't become complacent. Constantly, that's my sincere advice to the next generation. And your last question that you asked for, is what do you tell your models? Vashni, I think she's taking up a lot of things that not by teaching, but by her observance. There are TMD studios. I don't have that kind of ideas, that what she's having. So always the next generation will be brilliant, will be accomplishing more, and will be better than you, but don't get jealous of them, but be, agree to that. Don't argue with them, embrace them into your culture, and then take them in. And then that's where you're going to see a big success. There's some point of time, your experience is going to matter for them, where that if you do it this way, it's going to be wrong. If you do it this way, because your experience cannot be, short in time.
Yeah.
So that's where you can be a guide, what they call in Japan as a dendoshi, a man with a stick. That means dendoshi is the one who's actually kind of measuring everything, making sure everything is in the place. So to get that title dendoshi in Japan, in Panasonic company, is a very big, and I got the title 2 years back, Panasonic dendoshi. So with that title, I could get into any department. Why are you buying this? I need a rationale. They will be able to explain to me. So that's a kind of open check that I have from the CEO. Companies have changed. So many changes are coming. Some new people are coming. I hear picking up a coffee and I say, Murli uncle, turn back. Remember, I studied with you. Oh my God. She's working as a software engineer at Panasonic. To her, I'm still Murli uncle, but that won't change. That would change. And then, oops, sorry. And I said, that's fine. This is how it should be. Life should gradually progress. Now we're getting to, old, and then now we're growing old together, and then we are seeing a lot of youngsters coming up. Encourage them, provide this whole beautiful support for them. What do they need? If you have learned, studied from me, don't feel shy. If you want to teach. I'm so proud that Aparna is doing that. And we graduated from Madras University and start our company, Spring Nectar Academy, Isai Sangam, Spring Nectar Academy, Spring Nectar Foundation. And all these things are now amalgamating into different, somebody wants to study Veena traditions. So all those things, right? And then contributing back to society. Now we have a link with somebody wants a Veena box, be a Veena box seller. We have connected with them a platform with our NMK Ubiquitous Network. So somebody wants, Neeta wanted a Veena box for her. So we connected with the manufacturer. We got her a Veena box. That Veena box was shipped to me and came from, I don't know how all they brought it. She brought it with her, and then from there to her South Carolina, she shipped it to me. And then she came here. Her Veena was here. She put the Veena in the box, and then she took it back again. So it was like, the process, all this process were, protecting the organology of the study of musical instruments. How do you protect your instruments? If you don't take care of your instruments, no matter if it's a keyboard, it'll also break. It's just because we played so much, it broke. And then, mobility. How do you take your instrument? This instrument is $39.
$39.
$39. I can play a full-fledged concerts in this.
What is the name, sir?
Well, that's no name. It's just a OEM, original equipment manufacturer. You can, Akai has this one, same. So what we did was we wanted this 4 keys. All the keyboard starts here. If you look at your keyboard, it starts on C.
Okay.
My keyboard starts on F. So we had to move this whole structure, put it off, and then put that F. And then we have some few keyboards that are like that. So see, look at this keyboard. This is a conventional keyboard. This is like $650 in the keyboard, car keyboard. It starts on C. So that means if I start here, sa, ni, da, pa, ma is here. I need this, I need up to here. This is what I need. So this is what is found here. Sa, ni, da, pa, ma. Sa, ri, ga, ma, pa, da, ni, sa. Sa, ri, ga, ma, pa, da, ni, sa. I have 2.5 octaves. Just by adding this 4 key, that's again the innovation, right? For Carnatic music. It doesn't mean, this is very, very useful keyboard for Western classical music. No. This is the keyboard dots. And the most important person in my life is this girl. Who is this girl? This is my Kiara Goody. Kiara Goody. She's a musician too. She listens to my Veena all the time. Did you eat, mama? Did you eat, mama? And you gonna go play ball? You gonna go play ball? I'm done. So I kind of look at your, questions periodically, and then, the logistic part of it is the Veena example. How do you and also you can talk a little bit about the Veena itself. From tuning peg to adding the pickup, and then now we have this. I was playing this morning, so I put it down here. Can sit down here and wireless microphone for my Veena.
Oh.
So this is like connected to my Veena, connected to anywhere on the stage. I get my peace of mind where I want to sit. I don't know how to move myself too much.
Oh, wow. Wireless.
Beautiful connections on that instrument. So that's kind of an innovation within the instruments. The innovation beyond, a little bit out of it, changing trends to sustain Sampradaya, and the keyboard comes in there. This was a big breakthrough. The other part was to connect it with my ethnomusicology students, with my friends. When I went to Georgia as a fellow of Indian classical music, they invited me for a residence, Patel Distinguished Scholar Fund. So it was a high paid scholarship to go there, be a fellow of Indian classical music for 1 week, and then they have a Rivian orchestra where we took some of the compositions and Rose compositions and the most important thing was the collaboration between the Indian classical music and musicians and the Western orchestra, which we did quite a lot on that. Writing skills have never gone away from me. I write the staff notation, whatever I see in there. I have Endro Mahanabhavu written down. So if you have a Western orchestra, some of your kids, that's how they came first. Oh, Murli uncle, I played this. Can I see it? So I gave the notation. They played the whole thing without learning Carnatic music. But there's no soul in there because they don't know that part. They played it as a notes. They didn't play it beyond that. So then it's very easy to create that soul. You know.
Yeah.
So I think those are like the beautiful journey in Tanisha's
What
Arangetra.
advice you will give to the people, sir, like future generation people, like
I,
future vision advice to the
I think to some extent they have to be creative. They should not put a box around them and then say, hey, oh, this is what I do. Think, dream big. You have to dream big. The dreams, dreaming big is really a first step. Was Disneyland was flying up on the Orlando, saw a lot of open land, green land. They said, okay, we can take a 70 acres of land. Just from the flight, that thought came in. That became a Walt Disney, right? And then the dream big, and then eventually the dream should be like a kid who coming to a class one. The parents should be dreaming like, hey, when the kid is going to be performing in Carnegie Hall. That is the kind of dream I'm talking about. Not that when my kid is going to sing my first song. No, it's not it is an audacious goal, but if you have the passionate thing to do what you want to do, I think those things will translate into meaningful scenes, and there are teachers to build the scenes and create your playbook, and then to give that Arangetram. That was the story that we showed in Tanisha's Arangetram when I the dreaming of future. That was a video that we made and showed in there. There were so many people. You were there in the video too.
Yeah, I saw. Oh, yeah, really, sir? Okay.
Yeah, you are in the video too. It's a small clip somewhere. Personally, I was
Oh,
able to pull it in. Said, and that made a meaningful life, right? I mean, it's a tough life. I woke up at 4:25 today. Every day, most of the days I wake up at 4:25. Some days I get the luxury to work from home, but recently I've been going all 5 days to work. And it was kind of come back and then play music. I have to play Veena in order to keep my tradition, so I have to play Veena at least 1 hour a day.
1 hour a day at least. You
At
itself,
least
like you, even you are a teacher, you have to play at least 1 hour.
teaching is different than performing.
Mhm.
Teaching, I can wake up, you can wake me up at 5 o'clock, and then I can give a class and go back to sleep again. So that's not performance. Is not that. Performance is different. Sometimes you teach certain songs that might have an influence in your playing. So I have to erase all those things from my mind because all the students cannot play what you are playing, right? You have to come to their level and teach them at their level, but that should not influence your playing when you are performing.
Oh,
Some sangadis, so கஷ்டமான sangadis சொல்லிக் கொடுக்க முடியாது, கஷ்டமா இருக்கும். We don't want to embarrass students, so we kind of not to teach that. But eventually when they grow up, we teach them that. But that sangadi should come, and I'm a performer, I should play because I'm not weighted as a teacher when I perform. I'm weighted
oh,
as a performer,
okay.
right? So all those things, so I have to sit down. I have to sit down and practice, and 1 hour a day. And then when there's concerts and all those things, I practice more. Then I create, in the concert என்ன வாசிக்கலாம். The 1 hour நான் இன்னைக்கு காலையில் நான் என்ன வாசிச்சேன்னா, I played mall counts. Uh, Mall counts and Hindolam, both are same ragam, but how does a mall count sounds in Hindustani and how does Hindolam sound in Carnatic music? So I kind of blended it. I'm going to play for a bunch of North Indian friends for Diwali function in Panasonic. This is also very recent. I'm taking Panasonic Veena, introducing to so many people,
Oh,
and they love it. And there are so many South Indian students too. There's so many Panasonic employees, kids studying with me. Like
wow.
Tanisha's father is Panasonic employee,
Yeah,
and
she's
I have
nice.
Sindhura's son is studying with me. So many kids, that. So HR, we talked to HR and said, okay, companies start yoga class and things like that, I will give 1 hour for Indian classical music. It's also a kind of yoga. This is for employees and employees' kids. Doesn't matter, 1 to 1.5 hours or 2 hour session. Anybody Panasonic related can come in. All you need is a big hall.
Oh,
So to get a hall, it's kind of we have to go through the insurance, we have to go through all those things and hard, but they are working on it. They have something called annexures, where as part of the big company they can get that annexure hall like a dinner hall or something like that. So we're going to do that with this. We have a Indian CTO who's kind of
oh, okay.
helping us. So that's what I tell my youngsters. Message for them is dream big, innovative, and whatever you study today, in 20 years you'll not be doing what you studied today. So when you're studying, enjoy as much as possible. Don't study something that I'm going to study this, I'm going to become this. No. Sometimes what you study and what you're going to become are going to be two different things.
Yeah, true.
Right? This is the most experienced guy talking, not, I'm not talking about me, and I'm talking about Welsh, who was a GE founder,
Oh,
who all you need is, you need to have that energy in you, that you have to do. That energy has to come in, right? When you have to jump off from the bed, there should be a energy in you that tells you, hey, there's a meaning for me to jump out of the bed, and I have to do this energy, right? And then you have energize around things around you. You have to energize, and then you have the empower. You cannot achieve everything by yourself. You have to empower other people around you and make things happen for you the way you want. Empower them. And then the 3 E's of G are the really till the great energy, energize, empower for the young children. They should apply. And sometimes we attribute our success to being talented. Talent is minimally required, and all the rest of the things are talent plus. You have to have that energy in you. You have to have the right association. You have to practice. Talent is never enough. If you are very talented, if you don't practice your discipline, it won't come. It won't be successful. And then the right strategy, association. If you have so talented and your association was with some not in a right way, it will not come up as a successful outcome. So the association, and then consistency, power, politics, all those things, right? So talent is minimally required, and then the rest of the things are talent plus that we need to add. If you get an opportunity, pick up that book, Talent is Never Enough. That's the name of a title book, Talent is Never Enough. And then every music student should read that book.
okay, sir.
Right? If I missed any of your points, send me out question. I'll record and send it back to you.
Okay, sir. This video you will be sending me to, right?
Yes, I'm going to. The way how it's going to do is, I can also send you audio or video, whichever you want. I don't have an interview video, so you can keep this video.
Yeah, I can have that.
Someday it might be useful to you.